What's going on, everyone? So yes, we kind of have a crazy video to talk about today. I actually didn't even know this was going on necessarily. I know a lot of people can't talk about it because they are FFG affiliated. So things like this where they're talking about leaks and like crazy things that may have happened. Well, I got a little bit more freedom since I am not a sanctioned FFG creator. And well, my supporter on Patreon actually posted this during the day. Apparently, yesterday, the official Star Wars Unlimited site was bugged, and you could search certain terms to come up with certain cards. And if they were there, it would show, okay, here is a amount of cards that are available. It just wouldn't actually show you the cards. So, for example, as you can see from the post behind me, this person was searching for Mother Talzin, which we already kind of know is coming, as they've alluded to Mother Talzin and had kind of mentioned it, but no cards found on the site, just that the search term actually generated a leader. So some sort of coding mishap where they actually showed you how many search results popped up, just not the actual card image. They probably have the card image, they just didn't upload it because, well, obviously it's not set 5 time. But this led down a huge rabbit hole, because what happened was people were just searching all manner of random search terms because they wanted to figure out what's going on. First off, Qui-Gon and Maul, we already knew about this. They're in the kind of feature deck lists where Qui-Gon and Maul are leading. We even have the full kits. Darth REVAN looks like it popped up in the search term for people. My God, am I excited about this guy. Oh my gosh, am I excited about Darth REVAN. This is like the absolute most banger of a set if they have the Knights of the Old Republic. Honestly, my dream set would just be a Knights of the Old Republic set, where you have Revan, Malik, Bastila. Heck, you could have Mission and Zalbar as leaders. I don't even care. You can even incorporate the Star Wars The Old Republic MMORPG, and you could add KOTOR 2 and add the Exile. And, heck, if you really wanted to dive into it, for those of you that played Star Wars The Old Republic, you could start adding things like Satil Shan. You could add Malgus. You could be adding the random characters that you meet along the storyline. Like, I just think of Darth Zash and all this random stuff. And for those of you that actually have played the game, you probably know what I'm talking about. For those of you who haven't, you're like, what the heck are you even talking about? And honestly, for those of you that don't even know what I'm talking about, I will say the Star Wars: The Old Republic and Knights of the Old Republic, their story is so rich that you could generate so many interesting cards and interesting options to play around with. So even from a gameplay perspective, Revan in that type of era is something that I'm way more excited about than anything else. Cal Kestis, again, this is another one that we kind of knew already because of the spoiler of the actual ship that they fly around in. Kanan, I would love to see a Kanan leader. One of my favorite scenes in all of Star Wars. Little spoiler alert, although it's like, 9-10 years old or whatever. When Kanan, sacrifices himself in season 4. Oh my gosh, and his eyesight returns. It was just incredible of a scene. Anakin, would love to see a new Anakin. I think having a Legends of the Force set without an Anakin leader makes zero sense. So that makes perfect sense. New Inquisitors. I mean, they can go all sorts of different directions with this. With the new Inquisitors, maybe even referring to the new Tales of the Empire, where we get to see Barriss and her whole arc and kind of where the Inquisitors, a little bit more story behind the scenes, actually, realistically. Of course, we have the whole Obi-Wan series where we get to see a little bit more Grand Inquisitor and all that stuff. So Inquisitors make a ton of sense as well, even though they're not Legends of the Force. I think having them, well, maybe Grand Inquisitor might be, but I think having them in corporation with the leaders makes sense. Obi-Wan, another very classic one. Wouldn't be a real set to me if there wasn't an Obi-Wan leader. Mother Talzin, another one that we were alluded to. Ahsoka, this is probably more set, Ahsoka TV show era, where it's post-Empire or during Empire. Something like that versus the Ahsoka that we grew up with the Clone Wars. Definitely more of a legend in the later era of her time than in the earlier times. I think that's where they're going to go with Ahsoka. Rey, well, if they're going to have, Rey and Kylo in the 3 movies, they're gonna be legends and they're gonna be popped in. So Rey and Kylo, new leaders for both of them. Again, totally makes sense. We've already seen a Snoke card, or a Palpatine card. So not a Snoke card, but I'm be very surprised to see no Snoke leader. We already have a Snoke unit, which is one of the most powerful units in the game. Having a Snoke leader just kind of fits the theme, and just he is a real big contender in terms of effect on the whole franchise. I remember when movie 7 came out, Force Awakens, and everyone was just sitting there trying to figure out what the heck is Snoke. I remember when I was watching that movie, my theory was like that's some variant of Palpatine, or that is Palpatine. That was my initial statement, and while I was wrong in a sense, I guess I was right in a sense. I was kind of like half right, half wrong, where it was kind of Palpatine, but kind of not. Really, because Palpatine was guiding the whole thing, but it's just fun to see everyone's theories and everything when that pops out. Looks like Kit Fisto. I don't know why this is a question mark. I assume something was odd with the search term. So other new cards, they talked about one Asajj, maybe Bounty Hunter Asajj, that came much later. Although they kind of already have that with the new Jump to Lightspeed Asajj. I think that kind of fits the Bounty Hunter Asajj a little bit. 6 new Inquisitors. If you're gonna have an Inquisitor leader, you better have the full Inquisitor. All the brothers and sisters. Fifth brother, or ninth sister, or oh my gosh, I forget all the different names of the Inquisitors, but that would be absolutely sick. Honestly, that is probably one of the things I'm most excited about outside of like KOTOR and Jedi Fallen Order stuff. Like Revan and Cal Kestis are like peak excitement for me, because I just love the media, Star Wars media that's outside of the movies and TV shows. Just the video games most frequently are just things that I really enjoy, because I actually played through all the games. It's just something I'm excited about. And honestly, because of Cal Kestis, I guess the Inquisitors are a lot more exciting, because you have so many interactions with all of the Inquisitors in that game. Now, having a bunch of Inquisitors and rolling up with a Grand Inquisitor deck, slap it on the table, and you've got all the different Inquisitors, and you're playing on curve, and you just do Inquisitor. It would be absolutely sweet. A new Savage. We've got 15 new sabers. That totally makes sense within the theme of the set, having a bunch of unique sabers to each individual character, and I'm sure a couple of general lightsabers. Definitely something that I would have expected them to add. We've got a new Anakin unit, a new Gungan. Maybe it's Jar Jar. I don't know. Jar Jar's been kind of an infinite meme since he was released. Double cunning that does nothing. We've got a new Ewok. I don't know about that one. I mean, obviously, if these leaks are true, and there's no guarantee, by the way, that these are 100% true, but I just thought it was fun to talk about. Ewok, like that. I don't know why they would be putting in the Legends of the Force. I guess it makes sense in terms of we got to see a lot of the Empire and Luke's storyline within that era, but that's as far as I got. A new Ezra. I would love to see a new Ezra, where he's grown up, full bearded Ezra, Hermit Ezra. We've got maybe Mara Jade. If they have Mara Jade, oh my gosh. Ooh. Those of you that don't know Mara Jade, she's kind of a Legends character, where we got to see her relationship with Luke, and her being an agent of the Empire, but then also an agent of the new Jedi Order, and then back and forth. And there's a whole story with Mara Jade. It's absolutely sweet. New Yoda. Come on, guys. Got to have a new Yoda in there. Yaddle. I think Yaddle has definitely earned a place, especially if those of you that have watched Tales of the Jedi, with Count Dooku's kind of growing up, coming of age story, and the result of that with Yaddle. No spoilers, but spoilers. Yaddle dies at Dooku's hands. Grogu. So we got another Grogu. Would love to see a Grogu that actually has combat potential. Every single time I see Grogu and like getting into a battle, I think of, for those of you that have seen The Mandalorian, that scene where they're doing the foundling kind of duels, where Mandalorian initiates the duel, and Grogu has the little darts and absolutely gets slapped in the first 2 rounds, and then in the third round just like jumps around and smacks the kid back with like multiple darts. I just, every single time, that's what I think. I was it would be kind of cute and fun to see a Grogu in the mix. But that's like, at least in terms of what people were coming up with in search terms and everything like that, that is what people were seeing. Once again, there's no guarantee that any of these cards are coming, with the exception of Qui-Gon and Maul. And I mean, Cal Kestis just makes sense. Like, if you were to give me a list and say, hey, here's what I think is going to come in the next set, every single card on this list, with the exception of Ewok, would be something that I would also predict. The Inquisitors, just, they were, during the time across the period with the Empire and everything like that, they were the Emperor's kind of tools. Mara Jade would also be one I suppose I would not have suggested as a guess. Darth Revan, I would have guessed, but I don't actually know if he's coming. Like, my initial thought was like, I don't know if they're going to dive into these legends / non-canon characters realistically, but if they are, it opens up a whole slew of new options. One of the games that I used to play long ago, back like in 2015, was Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, which was a mobile game. It was a ton of fun just being able to collect all the characters, and that game actually dove into all of the extended content, and they start to have all sorts of crazy characters, like even Starkiller and things like that. So I've been with a game, or I've played a game that has done that type of stuff for Star Wars. I'm just not sure where FFG stands in terms of licensing and everything like that, but it would be absolutely amazing to see Revan and Mara Jade and all these different characters, not just because these are characters that I want to see, but more importantly, because the lore is so rich around them. And although I love to see all the new leaders and new sets and everything they come up with, the amount of sets that you could generate just by diving into these types of areas of Star Wars is insane. It's absolutely insane. And you could have infinite variations of Luke's and Anakin's and everything like that, sure. But going into a full new set with just like Knights of the Republic characters and introducing a whole new amount of people to the absolute amazing potential that could have, because of all the different ways they can take certain events, actually, I think would be absolutely amazing. The amount of force powers and things like that that are introduced in that game, you could have so many different events and upgrades and things like that that would just make it seem like you're actually playing the game. So that's what I'm more excited about more than anything. Let me know what you think about this, guys. Again, I wouldn't take like too much stock in this in terms of, yeah, this is what's going to come for the next set. I'm 100% certain. This is just kind of like a one-of random thing that I thought was worth talking about. I always love talking about this type of stuff, these random leaks to say, where something happens and there's a lot of speculation. This just kind of generates a lot of hype and a lot of discussion without actually spoiling any of the actual cards. Because at the end of the day, I mean, a Kanan could be released, but he could be absolute dog water. And same with Revan. Like, Revan could be released, but he could be dog water, and you know, you're never playing Revan, and then I'm tragically sad. We need to see the cards, of course, before the judgments start flowing, but whew, does it get the adrenaline going? Not gonna lie, guys, super hyped about set 5. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Is Revan your favorite, or are you liking something else on this list? Let me know. I'll see you tomorrow.